waiting for render. Oh, when I click it, it is that image.
Yeah, it is because
Did
I
you
just
just
changed it.
change it?
I did change it,
Oh,
and we're on. We're live. We are
Because he's
here.
a
changing it.
genius.
It's just some clicks.
Oh,
I'm not. I wish I could say I was good at computers, although I have understood that I probably am good at computers, but it's the idea that there's just a bunch of ones and zeros controlling this entire thing blows my mind.
you know what? The
Not by
stupidest
this entire
thing.
thing. Go, Johnny. I'm sorry. Go.
This should like help with your ego. The stupidest thing ever said about computers is that the average computer user should never need more than 512 megabytes. Do you want to know who said that?
Who said that?
Bill Gates,
Bill Gates.
Of course he
Yep,
did.
yep.
back in the late 80s.
Well,
Yep.
yeah. And the funny thing is I think like again, the fact that this is just a bunch of ones and zeros that completely controls everything that we're doing just blows my mind. Just as much as what also confuses me is there's a bunch of explosions in my car.
Right. Yeah.
My
The
car
internal
moves
combustion
because of a
engine.
bunch of explosions in my
Mhm.
car.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know why. I just know that the car goes, and that's how I feel about computers. I know how to kind of make it go, but to get into like I couldn't do any coding, I couldn't do any programming. I mean, I could if I studied and stuff, but right now at the level that I'm at, I know how the computer works and how to make it do the things. I'm
Right.
I like things that go. Can you make us go? I'm like a packlid. That's pretty much me. I'm just a
The
packlid.
pack lid. I get that reference.
I'm like a halfling packlid. That's what I
Oh my god. Can you do "Hello World" in at least 3 languages?
am. No. Hey, so guess what I did Saturday?
Careful, children are watching.
I know.
Did
Go
you
ahead.
kill people? Did you kill things?
I did not. I did not. There was nothing nothing
uh,
illegal. I play tested. I play tested the D&D 1, the new expert classes.
Sweet.
Yes. Have you guys read through this?
We're-
Have you read through the Unearthed Arcana for expert classes?
Not yet.
I have not. I have not had the time to. Were any of these experts computer experts?
They are not. But the expert classes, they have now, they're going to, or the plan is, obviously we don't know what it's the final iteration is going to look like, but that they are now grouping the classes into, well, groups. You've got your
Okay.
expert classes, your mage classes, your priest classes, and your warrior classes.
Okay.
And so they're starting with the expert classes. Eventually, they'll follow up with the mage, warrior, and priest. The expert classes are ranger, rogue, and bard. The reason they're called expert classes is because you have expertise. And so this is the first time that they've given ranger expertise in the skills. So, and they've done some really they have buffed up the ranger. Oh my gosh, it is so good now. It's so
This,
juicy.
this almost rhymes with prestige class.
Yeah.
I think it's
Little.
very
I
much
thought that as well.
Yeah.
But isn't a prestige class? Is that a type of? Isn't that something you can do with classes?
It was sort of like, so imagine like taking your class and then you get your subclass that's a branch, and then that subclass can like at higher level go pop into
Right.
like one or two things.
Right, and so that's where this is different. These are
Yeah.
these are already set in expertise. So these aren't classes that you later on do something to make them prestige or a different level. But anyway,
Right.
so Saturday night, our Saturday night group, which included my wife got to sit in this time. It was so much fun. Aiden, our dungeon master for session 1 of campaign 1.5, and my son. And his girlfriend, and then Derek Rusnick was in it. If you ever watch Secrets of Monster Island, that comes out every Monday right here on YouTube, our YouTube channel. Derek Rusnick is one of our players, and 2 other guys were in on this test, and I basically ran them through a level 3 combat, a level 6 combat, a level 14 combat, and a level 20 combat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What'd you have the most fun with?
Well, I would have had more fun with the level 20 against 2 ancient black dragons, but we were, I know. we were coming to the end, and I was like, I can't. We've got to finish this thing up. So I was just
So it wasn't for time then.
I was 90 feet up, and I was just popping them off. I was just killing them,
Oh,
and I even
oh
knocked
my
one, I even
goodness.
knocked 1/20th level rogue down.
Wow.
Whoa.
And if I had more time, I could have probably taken them all down. But we was already past our 4 hour mark, and I'm like, we gotta finish. So rainstorms were coming in Saturday night, so we had to go. But we had a lot of fun, folks. If you haven't read the Unearthed Arcana, do read it. And the survey for that Unearthed Arcana came out today. So for the next 2-ish weeks, you'll have time to fill out that survey. Let Wizards know what you think about these, because it's really kind of important. So, hey, speaking of Aiden, Aiden's here with us. And Hal, we got Hal. Fantastic.
Hal in the chat, what have you and Aiden both? Hal, tell us in the chat what you've heard about the Ranger, and Aiden, let us know what it was like to play a bard, and we'll come back to you guys in there'll be that 6-second delay for us, but
yeah.
While we're doing that 6-second delay, I would like to launch a mission statement. Plausible deniability is the ability of people, typically senior officials in a formal or informal chain of command, to deny knowledge of or responsibility for any damnable actions committed by members of their organizational hierarchy. So
like Mission
the
Impossible.
funny thing is we've got Michael Cross here.
Yeah.
True.
With us on Plausible Deniability. No, I was making our thumbnail tonight, and I typed it into Google. I was like, wait, am I spelling this right? I don't know why. It's one of those words that when I type it out, I'm like, this isn't right. And the definition popped up, and I was like, this is kind of perfect for the spirit of like how this was launched.
Yeah. So
what's so great is now it will finish it like on my phone. I start to type in Plaus and then abilities there, and right behind it is deniability. Like they just figure now that I go together with those two things. So.
Yeah. So yes, plausible deniability. Now, with the way you gave that description, I just think of Mission Impossible. Should you fail, the secretary will deny all.
Right. I mean, should I sit here and say something stupid? Everyone else can be like, nope, that was Johnny saying it.
It was just Johnny, yes.
That was Johnny. Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna be business folks, I had to put my shirt back on, my coat back on.
Thank you for putting your shirt back on, Brook.
So,
you should have seen. He decided to go topless at the beginning of this. We all talked him out of it. We said children are watching, and
now I like that you're doing it for Extra Life, so that'll be fun. What is it? 50 cents to take, and you'll take it off.
That's right, and then $1 million to put it back on.
Okay. That's the hook right there. I love it.
No, I couldn't get my camera settings set, and I was just like, I know it's Halloween, but I was like so ghosty. I was like, I got to cover up some of this white, So.
You're so pasty. I love our different. I fully show off my entire background because that's what I do, and then Brook blurs his background, and Johnny sits in the dark like the crypt keeper.
I've moved around the room. I've got more light on this time. I don't have my hoodie.
I've got more light on. Zagong. Welcome to the parlor.
Did I do this in one of our live streams? Oh, I did. I remember I got closer and closer as I was like talking to somebody in one of our live streams. Yeah. I'm going to give a spoiler here and a peek behind the curtain. Going back to the plausible deniability talk. It came from the first episode of Tales from the Cowboy Frontier.
Yeah.
You guys were in Jacoby Blackhand's office talking, and someone said, I think it was Gideon said something about plausible deniability. And then I get the nod to walk into my introduction, and that was the first thing I said. I tried so hard last weekend to make it Twitch's first words, and I couldn't find a way to make it happen. I could not find a way to make. I was like, someone's gonna say something, and I can define that into plausible deniability, and it's come out of the corner and go, that's plausible deniability you're talking about, but it never happened. So I'll try harder next campaign, everyone.
There you go.
But, that was gonna be I was like, if I can pull this off, that has to be the shtick
Yes.
forever is how is Johnny's character's first words always going to be plausible deniability?
Yes. So Hal says that it talks about the ability to stack hunter's marks, hex, something about an ability to use both hands with daggers or short swords, and something about an ability to inflict additional damage if the target is less than full HP.
Ooh.
One first through third level. I'm not sure about. Hey there, Andrew. Not sure about that. I do know that in the new Unearthed Arcana, Hunter's Mark is free to a ranger. It does not count against their spells, and it's not concentration.
Oh,
So you can
boy.
just now it does cast. You kind of it's a spell slot to cast, but you can just cast it, and even if you get hit, you don't lose it. And if you cast it at higher levels where it lasts for like 8 hours, 24 hours, you've got your hex going the entire day. So really good.
Wow.
Yeah, hex is really good for rangers, and they can do a massive amount of damage. They can turn invisible. There's a lot of good stuff about the rangers in this one. Aiden played the bard. It was a little bit nerfed, but I think that the bard is kind of a little bit too powerful in 5e as it is. Played by an experienced player, a 5e bard can be busted because anything a DM wants to do, the bard looks over and goes, yeah, no.
Well, do you remember the last Extra Life we did? I played my bard that was school of obscure basic thing that no one ever take, glamour.
Yeah.
And
Glamour
in our
bard,
very
yeah,
first
yeah.
combat, it was like I rolled the highest initiative and was like, cool, everyone put yourself where you want to be because I'm a bard and I said you can.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's like really broken. Yeah.
That's what I was doing to Kiri with my glamour bard is you can, or eloquence bard with my eloquence bard. Elisard Shank.
Yes.
So
right.
bards are basically broken if played by. The problem is you have to be an experienced player to do that. You have to know exactly what that bard can do. Once you do, it's so it is a little bit nerfed, but I think it more balances out for the DM and for the other players. But I enjoy it. I think there's a lot of good stuff in this new Unearthed Arcana that I think people will enjoy if they give it a test drive. And I look forward to future ones, and I look forward to filling out the survey and letting Wizards, because I filled out the survey on the first one, and it was pretty good. And it seemed like they were listening to people because they made changes already in this Unearthed Arcana, like with the D20 test, always 20s being an automatic success and 1s being an automatic failure. They changed that.
Yeah.
Which was good because it made no sense. The whole point of being a rogue is the fact that if you roll a 1 on your sleight of hand check, you might have a plus 14. You're still gonna succeed. That's the whole point of it, So, anyway, by the way, this weekend, folks, come one, come all to Wichita.
TsunamiCon.
Why would I go to Wichita? TsunamiCon, folks. Ash.
I'd rather go to Cleveland.
Ash, Connor, Aiden, and I will all be in Wichita for TsunamiCon. Hopefully somewhere close to SD-Way Gaming. I'm hoping we're right next to him. I hope so.
This is our Dice Master going to be there. Yeah, it'll be fantastic.
So we're just looking forward to it. We'll have our table there. We're very excited. It's going to be a blast.
You bet. You know what? What's really awesome is that the D&D family, the Red Dirt family, with now we have Secrets of Monster Island. We have some new rotations coming into Extra Life. We have, of course, Campaign 1.5, which doesn't tweak the core too much. But now we're almost like the comic book set of Avengers, and we can pull people to build a team for that event.
Yes.
And it's really cool that Aiden and Connor and you and Ash get to go to Wichita. It's really cool.
Yeah. And for New World Comic Con, we had Mark there and Aiden, and it was, we've got this whole team, and it's just a matter of if other people are out, some other people can come in and fill in. You're right. I think, we are the Avengers. I like that. Yeah. We are definitely the Avengers. I think I'm.
It's just,
I think I'm Ant Man.
yeah.
Looks like Andrew got a rare night off,
I know,
or he's sneaking around in the back somewhere watching on his phone.
which is cool too.
You know,
Plausible deniability.
plausible deniability. Man,
Glad you're here.
I love AirPods, whatever we call them. I don't even have the right Mac name for them, but I love them because not only are they like super secret spy mission stuff, but you can like have that in and the phone in your pocket if you just want to listen, and then you can actually do other things if depending on your level of multitasking. Maybe don't operate heavy machinery or surgery, but
If you want to, I mean, maybe I'm listening to a audiobook of how to perform surgery.
Oh my god! As long as you're one step ahead.
Have you guys watched Resident Alien? I mean,
No.
that guy like watched some YouTube videos. Have you seen this?
I haven't seen it yet.
No.
It's Alan Tudyk. It's on Sci-Fi. It's like 3 seasons deep. It says alien crash lands on Earth and takes the form of a doctor in a small town in Colorado, and it's Alan Tudyk, and then he just goes from there. He's like, I don't know how to be a doctor, so I need to like study, and watches some YouTube videos and like flips through a book real fast, and suddenly he's a doctor.
That's cool.
Yeah. Aliens, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Possibly other things coming up in the future, so look for those.
We have a map and a plan.
A week from tomorrow. No, a week from Saturday. Tomorrow is Friday.
Yep.
Yes,
a week from this Saturday, live on another channel that I don't know if I can mention on YouTube, but you know what it
when
is.
you do, I think the YouTube folks kind of get a thing.
Hey,
The crazy thing is you can get on YouTube and say Twitch all day long. They don't like it if you get on Twitch and say YouTube.
Oh, is it the other way around? Okay.
Yeah, you can say Twitch
I was
yeah.
gonna say, Johnny, what's the name of your character in Campaign 1.5?
Twitch.
On that channel, on that channel, you will find the Extra Life Red Dirt D&D live event, dungeon mastered by Mark Coffrin, folks. Mark Coffrin is our DM. It is going to be so much fun. We are going to have a lot of fun. We even have a really special giveaway that we will talk about later. So make sure everybody. Okay, right now, if you are not subscribed to the Twitch channel right now, go to Twitch right now. Just open up an extra tab. Go to Twitch, twitch.tv/reddirtdnd, and make sure that you are subscribed so you'll be notified when we go live at noon a week from this Saturday, because you will not want to miss it. We are going to have special giveaways. We're going to have raising money for the Oklahoma Children's Hospital Foundation, which is an awesome, awesome cause anyway. So a week from this Saturday. But before you do that, go to Twitch right now and make sure that you're signed up to get notified when we go live, because it's going to be an absolute blast. Make sure you do that. What else we got going on for Red Dirt D&D? What's
man? So then, like we could talk about behind the scenes. The very next day, we're back in the studio.
Yes. No, we're not. No. Check your calendar.
That's the 20. Yes, sorry,
Okay.
That's the 29th. So a week after that.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yes.
This is true.
Yes.
2 weeks from tomorrow is the Extra Life 24-hour gaming event at Game HQ. And I'm thinking a lot of the Red Dirt D&D people will be there. I'll be there. Aiden will be there. Johnny, you going to be there?
I'm making an appearance. I have work.
So do I.
I have. Long story.
Everybody's going. No.
You have to keep the robot overlords happy.
Yes.
Yes.
I will be there. I'm going to try to go for 24 hours for the first time since I was like in my 20s. So we'll find out how well that works.
Didn't you go 24 hours last year?
No. I've always gone on Saturday morning because I always bring the donuts. Well, I'm still bringing the donuts. They'll just be there the night before.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I'm going to actually try to go for the full 24 hours. I'm like, again, I'm not 20 anymore. There was a time when I could have done that without any problems whatsoever. But hopefully they'll keep me entertained. Hopefully Andrew and Mark and all the people I do know. Andrew will be there. Mark will be there. Aiden will be there. Of course, Ash will be there. Connor will be there. So there are a lot of people from Red Dirt D&D going, and I think we can keep each other entertained. Fortunately, it's 24 hours of gaming, so it's not like I'm going to get bored.
No, yeah.
That used to be one of the only ways we got gaming in when I was in high school and stuff, right? You know, everybody was so busy during the week, all these events, and then you'd get a quote unquote free weekend where you didn't have sports, you didn't have band, whatever it was, and then boom, man, let's just crank that thing up.
Yeah, 72 hours of Dungeons and Dragons,
hours, 24 hours, yeah.
Yeah, I would
crash on the couch, set the alarm for for 7 hours later. Everybody get up, let's go.
Yeah, Andrew Sheff. Yeah, it's gonna be Sheffy. Yeah, it's gonna be a Red Dirt party. It's gonna, so everyone come on out to the event. You get to see us live. To be there, you get to play with us. We are just gonna have a blast. It's gonna be a special event on the Friday night. There is I think it's called the Jackalope Hunt. Aiden, if you're out there, remind me what that's called. I think Jackalope Hunt is correct. But yes, that will be going on Saturday for Friday night, and then Saturday we'll have the Epic event. You can sign up for those right now on the Extra Life website. So go ahead and go there and sign up for them now. Let everyone know what classes you'll be doing, what levels you'll be doing. They are having a tier 4. I'm so excited. Grog.
Sweet.
It'll be the return of my half-orc barbarian Grog. Will be returning. And by the way, I named him long before I knew Critical Role existed.
There you go.
So it's not
just
plagiarism.
A good name.
Yeah.
That was a good DM long before I ever knew who Matt Mercer was.
That's
Cheers.
Yeah, and so the day after the Extra Life event, when I'm going to be up for 24 hours, then we are recording session 2 of Campaign 1.5. And that Wednesday, the very first episode of Campaign 1.5, which I think I've already got a title for it, but I don't want to mention it yet, is going to be airing. Unless you are a Patreon member, in which case you'll get it on that Sunday. You'll get it the day we are recording session 2. So, yes. The Great Jackalope Hunt is what it's called.
Yeah.
It will be a special scavenger hunt type thing in the world of Ratoya. So,
that's awesome,
folks. If you are a fan of Red Dirt D&D, come. It's going to be an absolute blast. Really looking forward to it. Yeah.
So good, so good.
There you go. I've talked enough. What else is going on? Okay. See, you know what I'm like? Oh, this is what Johnny does during our sessions. He just spends so much time talking.
No, I don't. I can't ever get a word in. Not here. Go.
No, that's true. That's why during your turns you take like 15 minutes on your turn.
Right, man. We get those round tables going, and it's like there's like I can't talk during a round table. I just gave up. I gave up like around the third round table. It's like yeah.
and in the last probably like 10 round tables before, I've been like, I'm not. Now the last one was the ending one, and there was just so much, on our hearts and stuff. But the ones other than that one, the ones before, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna talk as much. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm not gonna talk as much. And then I get so excited about the story, and I blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dang it, I missed my will save again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's the funny thing. So I've been spending so much time editing for the first session. I've already got the first episode done. It's in the can. The Red Dirt D&D cast has been able to listen to it. But on my downtime, just because I don't have much time to like watch an actual show or anything like that, I'm watching because I have this thing called the Gizmoplex from Mystery Science Theater 3000. Mystery Science Theater 3000 now has its own app on my Apple TV.
What?
And so I have been watching from the very beginning, from season 1 of Mystery Science Theater 3000. I'm now in the middle of season 3 of Mystery Science Theater 3000. And I've watched some of the shows, but certainly not all of them. And it is so much fun because the movies, of course, are 20, 30 years old. But the show itself also now is 30 years old. So its dated references are hilarious. Mentioning of things about like George Bush. And of course, they're not talking about the 2000s George Bush. They're talking about the early 90s George Bush. When they're talking, and there's so many things that I'm like, oh, they should have referenced like Harry Potter, or they should have referenced. And I'm like, that didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
All these and all these things that did not exist at the time that they were recording this. And I'm like, it's just an absolute blast. Guys, if you get a chance, go back and watch all the Mystery Science Theater 3000 shows because they are hilarious. Yeah.
I'm guessing there's some folks in the chat that are already like they've left, they're loading up their phones. They're like, what's the name of that app again?
It's a Gizmoplex. It is the Gizmoplex. And yeah, they have the new episodes because they did launch a new season. They had a whole Kickstarter and everything was great. But just to go back and watch the classic episodes that are just so hilariously funny. And I'd watched a few of them. That was the last time I think I stayed up 24 hours was watch the Turkey Day on Comedy Central when they would show 30 hours of Mystery Science Theater 3000 on Thanksgiving. And I tried it. And I think I got maybe about 25 or 26 hours in. So I've seen many of the Mystery Science. Of course, when you've been up for 26 hours, you don't remember much of it. So there was just a lot of coffee drinking. And so, yeah, but being able to sit and watch them now, I highly recommend it. It's very good. Yeah.
That is a cool thing. I remember, I think we talked about this before with Doctor Who, that there was a period there where, there was no streaming, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
You caught it and you recorded it maybe on VHS and you could give it to friends to watch.
Yeah.
But there was conventions had rooms where you could go in and they just played Misty episodes over and over and over again all throughout the day. There was a room where they played Doctor Who all weekend long, just one episode after the next. And people were actually had timers and they would go in there and start one and then leave the room and then come running back and like the tape was stopping. I had to like stop and put the next tape in. Yeah.
SoonerCon would do that. SoonerCon used to do that.
SoonerCon back in the day would do that.
And I've talked to Amber and they have to have a dedicated room for it, and they just really don't have room anymore to have a dedicated room just for viewing because they need every room they have for all the other programming that they have going on. So that might be something fun for somebody to just buy a room and have that to be able to watch.
Just rent a suite.
Yeah. I have watched every Doctor Who episode.
Cool idea.
I have actually done that. It took me 2 years to watch every Doctor Who episode from 1963 to, at that time, I think it was 2009.
Wow.
So, that was fun. That was fun. But anyway, what else are you guys watching right now?
I am catching up with Rings of Power. I'm one episode behind. Everything's finished up.
The finale is so good.
Yeah. I haven't seen the finale yet, which is like,
It is phenomenal.
And life has just been it's been good, but life has been really busy. We had a family that came in last weekend and just had a fantastic time with them. So when I had time, normally I didn't get anything watched because, instead we were playing card games or whatever with each other, and so it was a good time. But in the world of pop culture, I'm kind of on the dead zone right now. So
I'm doing House of the Dragon, which is just
season finale this Sunday.
My God! In the last episode, we found out where the dragon's house was. So we've known who the hand of the king is this whole time. In last episode, we met the foot of Bad joke.
that was a bad joke. Yes.
The hand on the foot.
That was probably the most disturbing scene, and I've seen some disturbing scenes in Game of Thrones, and that scene was really disturbing.
Yeah, it was okay. Watching that, and I'm watching, of course, Andor, which is great. I'm liking it a whole lot. God, the casting. I was just watching it last night. And Amanda and I were talking about the casting is so. Some of those people in there who they got to play the Imperials for the ISBs look like they. And I know there are people who you can't look at someone and tell they're English. I mean, or from London or the UK
Right.
or whatever. But you watch Star Wars and you're like, okay, all these people are like from the 70s and probably the UK. Watching Andor, it's like, man, all these people look like they're from the 70s and the UK. And it was, it was like the casting is really great. That's all it is really
I do love the fact that they do look like the Imperials from the original Star Wars A New Hope, with the mustaches, the long sideburns.
I mean, even like the nose shapes and they're doing a great job with it. I like it a lot.
The ISB agents are really well done. And just the fact that you can really tell when you've gone from Coruscant to the outlying worlds, you can feel it. It's not just a look, even it's just a feel of the way it's shot, of the way it's it's so good. And I've really enjoyed Andor, and I don't know why people aren't watching it. Apparently, it's not getting as good of ratings as the other ones.
Yeah, everyone's like action every 30 seconds kind of thing.
Oh, no, yeah. So, sorry. Cinematography-wise, they say it feels that way. What do you think? Are they just like putting a filter, changing stock? Are they manipulating? I think even different people.
Are you watching the show, Brook?
I have not started yet, and I'm
going to say a cuss word.
Watch it. It's my
narrative word here. Here's my cuss word that's coming up. And Michael can't edit this one. Do you remember in Monty Python and the Holy Grail when the king walks by and that peasant goes, "Oh, that one must be the king. How do you know? He's the only one that hasn't got shit all over him."
Yes.
That's how you can tell they go from Coruscant to any other planet.
Right, but I think it's also the way it's camera angles as well. It is wide shots.
It's like people are holding the camera, and
it is. It's the way. That's what when we talk about cinematography.
But on Coruscant, they're stable and they're solid. It's a good shot.
That's so cool.
It's like on Coruscant, where the money is where the shot had that in it, and on the other planets where they're scraping to get by, that's kind of how that scene was shot.
Yeah,
it's really it's the whole.
It's not the old '90s this thing, but it is. You can actually tell that this is a handheld camera, that it's just moving just enough to where it's not quite on a tripod. It's probably on a Steadicam, and so it gives you that feel. And when they're in this world where it's where the heist is taking place, and it's beautiful and gorgeous. There's so many wide shots. I don't know where they filmed it, but oh my gosh, it is beautiful. So cool. That's why I said when we talk about cinematography, it's just the way the angles are done, the camera's being held, everything. You can feel it when you move, and it's more than just the costumes and the set. And that's what I love about it. It's so good. More people need to be watching Andor, because I think it is above and beyond. It's the best Star Wars.
Good TV.
And I love Mandalorian, but I actually think this is better than Mandalorian. And I
think it's better than Boba Fett.
Oh, it's definitely better than Boba Fett.
There's no Power Ranger biker gang.
Yeah.
Running around. Yeah, it's
and I'm not going to knock Mandalorian and Boba Fett. I really enjoyed them, but Andor is really good Star Wars storytelling, and
I've heard some really, really deep Star Wars fans talk about how much they love Andor. That's really because it's new Star Wars. It's something new.
Right. That's the thing. The Mandalorian is giving us more of what we know. And giving us some of what we know. Whereas this is, we're seeing the rise of the rebellion and the rise of the empire, and we've never seen from this perspective, other than it just quickly happening in episode 3.
Right. Or what we got out of the Legends in comic
or a
books.
little bit in Solo or
Yeah.
whatever. Which, by the way, did you watch the most recent episode yet, Mr. Cross of
Yeah.
Andor?
Uh-huh.
Did you see the mark on the sidewalk?
The mark that when the girl walks by and looks down and there's the mark.
And there's a symbol there?
Yeah.
That symbol was also in Solo.
Was it really? See, I didn't catch
Yeah.
that. Okay. I was trying to figure out what that mark was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I the thing is when I read the Legends in the comic books of the Dark Times were some of the best comic books. And anything that fits in the Dark Times, and that's why I liked Rebels so much. But unfortunately, Rebels was an animated, so it kind of had to be a little bit more for kids. And that's why I like Andor so much, is it doesn't have to be for the kids. It is the Dark Times for grown-ups, and it's really, really good. So highly recommend people going out, watch Andor. It's just really that good.
That's awesome.
Also, just I think this will make good conversation. Real quick, the third thing I'm watching is we're gonna watch like spooky stuff all month long in a deal, and then Amanda and I got talking. She'd never seen American Horror Story, so we've started at season 1, and we are now on Freak Show. If you guys have ever watched American Horror Story.
I watched the first and second season, I think, and oh gosh, I think I binged it at one point. I'd fallen behind. This is before I got married, and I was living by myself in my house, and I had started at like about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and watched, and I didn't notice that it was getting dark, and I didn't turn on any lights as I'm watching this. And so it got darker about 3 or 4 hours into watching American Horror Story, and it's about 8 o'clock at night, and I'm just like, so I go to turn off the TV because I'm okay. That episode's over. I turn it off, and I'm in complete pitch darkness. I'm like, holy crap!
Wow.
No. Yes.
Mr. really liked it.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I mean, maybe I'm just a juvenile. I don't know, but it doesn't matter how old you are. There's sometimes when you're in pitch blackness and you're safe, but the hair on the back of your neck starts standing up, and you're just like, "What is that with my imagination?"
And I gotta tell you, I never want that to go away.
I know, dude. I've done that to myself on purpose. You go into like a just all by yourself at some point. I've gone in the mornings. I'll go into the Heart Building. And if I want to, I can start to freak myself out because I'm all alone. I can go, what if there was a ghost in here? What if there was something? And it's like
it's a good rush.
And you could just feel, it's just that feeling. It's what's the adrenaline rush? Did you ever see the Halloween episode with Robert California, played by James Spader in The Office, where he talks about why fear is important? Why people get scared. It's a great monologue. James Spader, look it up on YouTube, playing Robert California. It's fantastic. And it just explains why people do it, why people freak themselves out, why people want the fear. And it's pretty amazing.
In the chat, Hal says, it's probably the Gru.
It's probably the Gru.
You get eaten by the Gru enough and you get scared of it. From God, what was that? Lork? What was that? The old Explore game. Was it called Lork? No.
Who?
Zorg.
Zork, maybe, yeah. So
the PC game, Zork.
Yeah. The text game.
I've been trying to. Zork.
That's it.
I've been trying to find. I want to find a good. I don't know why no one has invented a good D&D text game.
So let me stop you there. No one's invented a good D&D text game, because if they did and put it out and kind of like marketed it or something, there would be copyright issues. But there are some modern day really great text games where you could play a paladin or a wizard, and you have to go to, instead of Candlekeep, you go to Lanternville,
Yeah.
And I mean, it's basically it's the I can't get sued by Wizards of the
Right.
Coast D&D text base. I honestly, like about a year ago, I was knocking one around for like 4 or 5 months. Yeah, there's some really cool ones. There's one that you can play on the PC and then jump on your phone and keep going.
Oh,
If you're like,
really?
yeah.
That would be cool.
They have really cool commands now, and like the interfaces are kind of neat, but they're still pure text. They don't take that away from
Yeah,
you.
that's all, because that's all.
I mean, I was the muds and
Technically, that's all D&D is. I mean, yeah, you've got miniatures and you've got Roll20 and all this if you need it, but for the most part, it's just talking. It's theater of the mind.
It is.
So
totally.
it's just texting.
Yes. Yeah, text-based games.
Yeah.
I was sitting one day at work talking to somebody actually, and I was like, we got talking about Ultima Online.
Oh, I loved Ultima. I loved
also,
that
remember
game.
the text-based games? And we started Googling, and there are some out there with like high player counts. And
I think friend of the show Germs talk about how one of those had been rebooted on a server somewhere.
Oh yeah, Ultima Online has been it has a fan server that's
Wow.
Yeah, I downloaded it, installed it, played it for about 3 hours, and went, yeah, that's cool, and then kicked it. But
yeah, I did download Final Fantasy 1 on my iPad and played that one for a while, and that was kind of fun. Yeah. But yeah, those games that were done before, even Zelda, which of course led into, and it's all because of D&D. It's what Gary Gygax created back in 1974. Inspired all these video games, even the text games. That's all been inspired because of it.
EverQuest was originally a bunch of dudes sitting around playing D&D, and they were all somehow some kind of programmer or worked in gaming or did little projects, and they're like, hey, these are like really cool maps and this lore is really cool, and let's turn this into a game, but like change everything so it's not D&D. And basically you were playing in their game world and their setting and doing all their stuff, and then it grew into the empire that it was for a while. But it was legit. There was a book you could buy that literally showed their gaming table in their kitchen, people just taking pictures of stuff, and you could see a hand-drawn map laying next to someone's D&D books.
Yes.
It was literally the map of one of the zones in the game.
Yeah,
they just completely translated it over.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reason we have things like almost all games have some kind of hit points, AC. It's all called different stuff, but it's basically the same thing that Gary Gygax created back in 1974. And it's changed, it's evolved, it's adapted, but it is still the basic idea of a group of people coming together. And whether it's a physical group of people sitting around a table or whether it's a digital group of people that you've put together to play on a computer, it's the same thing. That's that's the beauty of that kind of game, and that's why I don't see that kind of gaming going anywhere for a very, very long time, because people still enjoy it. And whether it's D&D or Pathfinder or Shadowrun or whatever, that's why. It's because people love just sitting around and being in a group and playing.
Very much what Hal said in the chat, that the interaction with the other players is really the reason to play D&D. I mean, it's hard to replicate that when it's a single player game. I mean, you still get your fix when it's you versus the computer or, whatever single, solo module you're doing or whatever. You still get to roll the dice, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah. Yeah. They're sitting around a table, whether virtual or physical, is really what D&D is all about. And it's one of the things that we were truly, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, during the pandemic, we were truly blessed to live in a world where we had the technology to where even though everything else was shut down and we couldn't leave our homes, we could still play Dungeons and Dragons with our friends, either through Discord or through Roll20 or through Fantasy Grounds. But we had the ability to do that. And 20 years ago, had the pandemic happened, you couldn't have done that. You couldn't have played D&D with your friends. I mean, maybe you could call them,
Right. Yeah.
Play by message post.
I'm at the point, I mean, it's really cool. It was a lifesaver being able to just jump online and play. My Pathfinder group went from playing it at home to playing online, and we still are now on Tuesday nights. But it's at the point where it's like I really need I want to sit at a table
Yeah.
and hear dice
Yeah.
bounce around and move miniatures and stuff. And so it's starting to be like, oh, with a like weekly group like that group is. But yeah, Aiden in chat says no video game will ever be as flexible as a dungeon master.
That's
I
right.
completely agree. And there are so many
That's
people
true.
that when you ask, it's like, what was your first? It was specifically talking about like D&D and stuff, and it's like, oh, what was your first role playing game? And they'll say, well, a one of the Final Fantasies, and I'm like, in that Final Fantasy game, when you went up to a guard and he wouldn't let you in the door yet because you hadn't finished this part of the quest and the program scripting hasn't unlocked it for you yet, can you roll charisma and get a high enough number to defy the programming of that video game, or just kill the guard? Or in EverQuest, every guard was like 10,000 times more powerful than you.
Yeah, or
And
go to
they're not the same.
or go to the back of the castle and sneak in, or
right.
do
You're on
the,
rails.
The thing is, the
Yeah.
beauty of a dungeon master is the fact that that's what I
Right.
always say. If you shouldn't do this, folks. But if you're in a game and the dungeon master says, okay, well, you could go into the forest. It's like, well, I want to go over to the mountains. You can go over the mountains.
can.
Folks, don't do that to your dungeon master, please. But you could. That's the whole point of what the dungeon master does, is he allows you to think on your feet and do other things. And yeah, you're right. A program, even an AI, people are talking all about artificial intelligence. Like, artificial intelligence, it's still programming, folks. It doesn't think
Yep.
for itself. It's
Nope.
just programming. Garbage in, garbage out. It's not thinking for itself. It's not going to be as good as a human brain. Aiden is absolutely right. No video game will ever be as flexible as a dungeon master, and that's the beauty of playing Dungeons and Dragons in person or online with your friends, is that you can do whatever you want. You can do however you want your characters to do. At every game, you take any one of these hardbound adventure paths, Horde of the Dragon Queen, or Tomb of Horrors, or whatever. It's always going to be different with a different group of players, with a different dungeon master. It's always going to be different, and that's what's beautiful about that. You play the video game's always going to be the exact same. If I play Zelda Ocarina of Time, I will go through the exact same things I went through in 1994, whenever that came out. It's going to be the exact same path. Whereas I pull out one of these books and somebody else is the dungeon master, and I got a different group of people, a different group of characters, it's going to be a different game. And that's just the beauty of D&D.
Yep.
Truth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so good. So good.
So we still got about 13 more minutes left. Oh, hey, guess what I'm reading? Still,
What?
I'm reading Dragonlance.
I was going to say, you still reading? How far you got?
I'm in the 3rd book.
Oh, Dragons of Spring Dawning?
Yes.
Nice.
And I just got to the point where they went to the maelstrom and got pulled down into, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't remember them dying. I'm pretty sure they all survived. And of course they ended up being saved by the sea elves, and that was really cool. And yes, the fact that Lorana is the general, although then she makes some really stupid decisions when Kitiara sends hey, I've got Tanis and I'll do a prisoner swap, and I'm like, come on, Lorana, you're not going to be that stupid.
Yep.
So, but yes,
What was
there are a few tropes that are there. So
there's just so much I don't remember. I know I read them, but I'm reading them right now, and I'm like, I don't remember any of this. And I can tell you moments from other books that I've read, and I don't know why I have totally forgotten these Dragonlance books. But it's like reading for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know exactly. In fact, I was looking over my shoulder. Mine's there, and we are almost in exactly the same spot. I'm just a little bit ahead of you, um, but yeah, just so good.
Yeah, and I know it's like I know that these so many of these characters survive, so it's like it's kind of weird because of like their deaths sort of are heavy, but also it's like but I know that they don't like Raceland shows up at the library and it's like I know he doesn't because I know he goes on to other books,
Yep.
so
I do remember reading that for the very first time, going, oh my gosh, like maybe they will kill him. I remember reading that for the very first time, and I was very much the paladin in high school, and I was so mad at him for taking the orb and getting himself out
yeah,
of there, abandoning everybody else.
yeah,
I just couldn't believe like heroes don't do that,
yeah. But
And
Raceland's
Raceland's maybe
not
not a hero.
he's not a hero. He is not in any way, shape, or form a hero. And you know, I mean, he even kills his own brother in the trials. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's Raceland. That's kind of who he is. But yeah, it's
What about Silvara's reveal?
It's still fun.
what
Was that
Savara's
new?
reveal. Oh yeah,
Was that new? Was that still was that new new
no,
again for you?
no. Actually,
Yeah.
when she showed up, that was one of the things that I did kind of remember that
Okay.
that she was a silver dragon. That was so there was and with Fizban. I know there's more to
Yeah.
Fizban just because I know who he is. But
Yes.
that's not necessarily from reading the books. I'm not sure exactly where I remembered where Silvara, but maybe it was just obvious. I mean, her silver
Yeah.
hair, her name's Silvara. She's kind of an elf, but not really. It just all was maybe it was just for my adult brain. I'm a little bit more. Yeah, I figured
I
that
do
one out.
love Taz sneaks off by himself and then sees some paintings and then
Yeah,
oh my gosh, I keep wanting to say Gandalf now, but
Fizban. Yeah,
Fizban is like, you'll remember that later, but not right now.
yeah,
Whoop, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And then Task breaking
Ah,
the dragon orb. Wow, that moment
yes.
was phenomenal, and I love Task. Oh my gosh, you love the hobbits in the Lord of the Rings, but they cannot even compare to my love for Task and for the
Yeah.
Kender. Just they are so amazingly wonderful, so well created, and yeah, I just want to do more stories of Kender. I just want to read
Mhm.
stories about Kender.
That's the movie we need. Is the Dragonlance movie?
We do,
No
and
I
doubt.
I was reading and I'm like, why these could make these easily could make trilogies.
Well, didn't was it Joe Manganiello that like wrote a script or hired somebody to like work with him to write a script, and he presented it to Warner Brothers or something? And I remember like just like 3 or 4 years ago, right before they announced the current movie that's happening, he was like really pushing to make
Yeah,
a D&D Dragonlance movie, and I don't think anyone took him seriously.
yeah, it could be
Uh,
But
easily done. It's so much easier
his
than Lord of the Rings.
documentary is kicking off.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe if that's done well, people will be like, we should really reconsider this.
It's actually not the documentary. It's the movie coming out next March, folks. If you want to see things like a Dragonlance movie, the movie next March has to do well.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the movie has to be good. I'm saying in the box office, folks, it has to do well because movie producers, they only care about one thing, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
If it makes money, they will make more. If it does not make money, they won't make any more, folks.
Highlander 2 and 3 prove this, ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-huh.
They will make more, even if it's terrible.
Even if it's
So go
horrible.
see it.
It's one of the reasons why sequels tend to suck. Is because the writer wrote one movie only for one movie and then it made a lot of money, and it's some of the reasons why the TV shows do the same thing. That the creator of the TV show wrote for like 2 seasons or 1 or 2 or maybe 3 seasons, And then it did so well that the producers are going, okay, you got to write more seasons. I'm like, but I have an ending. It ends. We can't keep going. So, yeah. I think if the movie next March does well, so even if it sucks, folks, go see it.
If you hear reviews that it's terrible, go see it.
Go see it in the theater. You have to go see it in the theater. Best if you go see it opening weekend, because if it does well in the box office, then there will be more. And I think we could easily have a Dragonlance trilogy. I don't know why we wouldn't. Like I said, I'm reading the books right now, and I am seeing the movie in my head.
Oh, 100%.
If they did Lord of the Rings in movie form, they can do Dragonlance easily, because Weiss and Hickman are that good of writers that it is an action adventure. It's already pre-written action adventure.
I'm excited about the new retellings or the trilogy or the return to Krynn, because I think we see in the Legends trilogy, which is just basically Caramon and Raistlin and Taz. I think they're better writers in that story than they were in the first, and so they have grown as writers. Weiss and Hickman have. So for the return to Krynn, I'm really excited to see that it's good again, right? Yeah. I want to see their writing grow. I want to see them be better authors, and I think they are. So that'll be exciting too.
Yeah, that's gonna be good stuff. I would love to see it. You're right. I think there'd be no reason why we can't. And I know Kid Cthulhu would love to see that too.
Right.
Michael, you mentioned the breaking of the Dragon Orb at the High Claris Tower. I've got friends. I missed out on that. I was just outside of that circle, but I've got really close friends still in contact with that played the Dragonlance modules as they came out, and there are some things that never make it to the book that are in the module that are really awesome. I mean, down when they call the dragon in, and when the orb calls to the dragons and they go down in through, and it's a trap, and then there are some things down in there that are really, really cool in the module. Yeah. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to see something like that. And I'm looking forward to seeing the new game that's coming out, I guess now in November. The new
Minis game.
Yeah.
And then the campaign book, and November, it's just around the corner.
Yeah.
Yep. Got that new campaign book. We have the miniatures game that's coming with Dragonlance. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be a good year.
Yeah.
A good Christmas season, maybe.
Yeah. Finish out the Christmas for really, really well.
I heard something the other day, Michael Cross, that I thought I needed to tell you.
I fix my chair.
And we got 4 minutes.
There we go.
So it's completely off topic.
Okay.
It's about Star Trek.
Oh, yes.
Did you hear any of the Comic-Con announcements over the past month?
No. What's going on?
So do you watch Lower Decks?
Yeah. I've seen bits of
Rick and Morty Star Trek.
Yeah.
So watch them. There are some that are terrible. They do their own version of Amok Time, and it gets weird. But they're doing some really cool stuff with Section 31, et cetera, et cetera. But at their panel at Comic-Con, they had at New York Comic-Con, they had the Anson Mounts, Strange New Worlds crew. Cast was doing a panel. And while they're doing the panel, the person that plays Tindy and the person that plays Boimler come walking out on stage. And I know their names. I can't remember them right now. It's Dennis Quaid, Jack Quaid. I can't remember the lady's name. But they come walking out on stage and they're like, wait, hey, what's going on? And the crowd, they basically hijack the panel. And it's like, what are you doing here? It's like, we're looking for food. Is this where the food is? And we're just here to screw up somebody's day and make them mad. And it's like, what? And then finally, Anson Mount's like, okay, they're here because next season we're doing a crossover.
Oh my!
Between Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds.
But here's how they're doing it. They're not going to animate the Strange New Worlds people and send them over to the cartoon. They're having the voice actors suit up.
That's awesome.
No way!
But
probably some kind of time travel episode, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think it'd be fantastic. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
Television Star Trek right now is back on top.
It's good. I've been listening to some audiobooks lately, and there's some like great podcasts out there. There are 4 different podcasts out there that they'll go to the very first episode of Trek and they'll watch it, and then they'll do a podcast episode about like their take on the episode.
That'd be awesome.
And I'm listening to some right now that they're all the way up through Deep Space Nine and End of Voyager. And they're each, though they're so unique and different. Like one of them is like, I think these guys are drunk and they have like locker room humor. And it's an interesting take. And then there's the 2 that are like very like, how does this relate to the real world, to today's current world? And then there's the take of they're just like true blue Roddenberry fans. They talk about production value and the guest stars and how this story connected to that story, and the blueprint of the vision. There's really that are all so different, but that's basically they're all the same. They're just watching an episode and talking about it, and watching one and talking about it in order. Yeah. It's great. It's good stuff. Yeah.
So it's 8:00 and I keep sinking. I need a new chair. I don't know what's going on with my chair. I got to fix my chair. It's awful. I keep sinking and it's awful. So before I
oh, you were talking about playing Kinder, so
I know I am. Like I said, I'm a halfling.
Right.
It's so I'm a halfling pack led. I want that character. I want to make a halfling pack led. We make things go. Can you make things go? We like things that can go.
We're strong.
We're
ones
strong.
and zeros, small explosions underneath the hood of the car.
If you watch Lower Decks, the Packland homeworld got destroyed. So
yeah. Yes,
it was okay. It was the Federation.
Okay, so anyway, this Saturday, this weekend, come see us in Wichita for TsunamiCon. Next Saturday, do join us on Twitch for the Extra Life event for Red Dirt D&D on the Twitch channel. And then 2 weeks from tomorrow, we have the 24-hour gaming event at Game HQ. Make sure and join us for Extra Life. It's just going to be an absolute blast. If you are in the Wichita area, we'd love to see you this weekend. If you're not in the Wichita area, come up and see us. It's not that far. It's right up I-35. You can get there in an hour and a half here in central Oklahoma.
For on Twitch in 2 weeks, you mentioned at the top of the show something special. Do you remember? I assume you were relating to a giveaway.
Yes.
That will be announced later. Not later in the episode. Later in life.
The episode. Just later on. I don't because the announcement's not going to come from me. And I really am shrinking. This is really annoying. I just keep looking at myself. I'm like, wait, now I'm at the third screen. What the heck is that?
He just drops down here.
I'm already self-conscious about my height, and now I'm gonna shrinking in this show. No, there is gonna be a giveaway, but I don't want to announce that. That will be announced later,
Okay.
Not later in the show.
Yeah.
But there will be a big giveaway.
Something big coming.
But it's gonna be fun.
Brook is always trying to break street date.
Yes.
I know. Guys, thank you so much. We Hal, S. Jones, Aiden, Dunick. Gosh, who else do we have here?
Andrew,
Nerf Master. It's good to
Nerf
see
Master. You guys are fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure and check us out later on. Again, next week we'll have a new episode of Red Dirt D&D, which will be another wrap up of Campaign 1. We're still just gushing about how awesome it was, and fairly soon we'll come out with 1.5. So watch for more news on that.
Johnny, you're going to tell Andrew to get back to work.
Get back to work, Andrew.
Get back to work.
All right.
All right. See you guys. We will see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.